Morning, lads.
Morning, mate.
He's had to go. The results are shocking. I thought the Borussia Dortmund game where 2-0, I thought he was on maybe a turning point, and it's just gone back downhill again. We're an elite club since Abramovich took over and spent all that money, and now at the minute it's looking a shambles. Obviously, Todd Bowley's come in, spending money galore. I just don't think it's working at the minute. We need an elite manager. Like to get Nagelsmann would do me two favours on the basis he's a good manager, and we nick him off Tottenham. The other side of it is, why did we get rid of the likes of Tuchel in the first place?
Well, that's one of the big questions we're asking this morning. But look, honestly, take a step back from it. I mean, you're watching a soap opera of a club at the moment.
Yeah, it's all over the place. It's like watching EastEnders. Like we're spending money galore. Like players, I don't understand. Enzo Fernandez for 103 million. Yes, he won Young Player of the Tournament, but in my eyes, Mbappe should have probably had it anyway. He did play well, but to get Harry Kane for 100 million, like Man United likely to get him 100 million this year.
I bet you would have loved Kane in a Chelsea shirt at the moment, Luke. Jordan's another big Chelsea fan. Luke, thanks for that. Jordan, good morning. What's your take on this?
Yeah, hey guys, thanks for having me on. I was actually Potter in most of the way. I was Potter in. I was one of the only fans that was getting taken the mick out of all my mates. Nah, Potter won't do it. I was Potter in literally up until the Aston Villa game, and then I just couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take it. Why have you got Cucurella playing in a left centre back position when you've got Paddy Shield, Trevor Chalobah on the bench? I think a really big decision needs to be made from Bowley and the rest of the staff now on who brings in. I think you've got to bring in a winner. I can't stand this club losing 11th place. It's so bad.
Oh, Jordan, thanks for that. Brian, another Chelsea fan. Brian, I mean, are you questioning the ownership in all of this as well?
Morning, boys. How are you?
Morning, mate. What's your thinking on it? I mean, big questions about the ownership too, right?
Well, the ownership's one thing, and they're spending money, which is another. But ultimately, he's been brought in to manage. So no matter what players they buy, it's his job to manage them. Now, looking at it from my point of view, I just think playing like the weekend, playing Cucurella centre back, Loftus-Cheek right wing back, you're just asking for the sack. Especially when the goal comes from Cucurella heading it over the other centre half. I mean, it's just a comedy. It's an absolute comedy. I mean, he's picked a formation to get himself the bullet. I said this months ago. I rang up after the Southampton game. The same thing. You're playing 3 different formations during a 90-minute game, then making unnecessary substitutions game after game. Did it in Everton. We're 2-1 up. Just see the game out 6 minutes to go. Makes more changes.
Yeah. But Brian, can I ask you straight, mate? Were Chelsea fans ever buying into Graham Potter?
Do you know what? I'm an Englishman, and I wanted Potter to do well as an English manager. I was begging him to do well. But he was just out of his depth. From the very beginning, he's out of his depth. Now, they threw loads of players at him, fair enough. But he doesn't have to play. I mean, like he's playing kids' football, giving kids game time. You haven't got to give game time. Just play the formation, a system to win a game.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't mean you've got to play them all.
Brian, listen, thanks for that. I mean, Martin, a lot of them questioning on the very subject matter you struck on earlier on about players playing in a certain position.
Yeah,
You're thinking, what's he doing there? Loftus-Cheek,
Brian's right. It does open you up to ridicule when you. We're talking about getting the basics right, and even the fans are well schooled. They've had good managers. They've had lots of trophies. They're almost experts themselves, and they can pick it up quickly. And they've never really been convinced.
Yeah.
And I think in the end, when you get booed off the pitch half time and at the end of the match, then there's only one really answer going to come. But yeah, I can't quite understand it. Cucurella hasn't really worked. Ironically, he's come from Brighton, and the new signings that have come in this season, no one really capturing, and you're saying, well, that's world class. He's a world class player, and they paid fortunes for these players. And what I'd like to ask Simon on this one, Simon, you've got players at your club, so these are on 8-year deals.
Yeah.
So you're going to put yourself in the ownership model, and you're bringing in now a new manager. And he might say to you, well, 2 or 3 of these, sorry, I don't really think they're good enough. Not sure what went on before I got here. How are you going to get rid of them?
Well, by the same token that you bought them in, you'll be able to sell them to someone else. And if you're having to take a pill on some of the cost implications of either subsidising a deal on the way out, if you buy £100 million player and put him on an 8-year contract and someone comes through the door and doesn't want him, then ultimately you've got a challenge, which is, A, the price you've paid for him. Look, there's 2 things here, Martin. The first question I would ask you before I get into the question you've asked me is, Would any other Chelsea ownership model have put Graham Potter in position?
Probably not, no.
So the question is, why did Todd Bowley do that? Because he didn't know what he was doing. You look at the player contracts. Look, there's this. How much money Chelsea are spending is almost irrelevant because the owner's prepared to spend it, right? People wanted to buy
when
Cucurella.
they're in breach of financial fair play, then there'll be an issue. They can't keep spending.
And then they'll suffer the consequences, like other football clubs that have breached financial fair play. Hopefully, will too. The bottom line is that they will sell a boatload of players in the summer. They'll sell Ruben Loftus-Cheek possibly. They might sell Conor Gallagher. They might sell Mason Mount, although there's a new contract in place for him. And they'll recoup some of the losses that they're going to get from the transfer deals that they've done from depreciation by the very nature of these players being academy kids.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that Potter and his management style wasn't fit for purpose at Chelsea because the owner isn't fit for purpose at this moment in time.
There wasn't an awful lot wrong with Chelsea, was there? Before the owner came in and spent 600 million.
That's fair. That's actually fair.
Was it when you think where they finished third in the league?
Yeah.
They won the Club World Tournament.
Yeah.
They'd only, a year before that won the Champions
Yeah, I mean, they
League.
didn't win anything last year.
They got to the final of both domestic cups.
But Chelsea, well, if we really want to if we want to be nitpicky about it, Chelsea win something most seasons, right? Last year they won nothing. Now that doesn't mean that they didn't perform. They're performing a damn sight better than the shower that's performing right now. So there's no argument there. But we had a club that was going into free fall as a result of Abramovich. Everyone said there's going to be an effect of this. The moment this ownership model changes, there's going to be an effect of it. Why is all of a sudden everybody going, how can the Chelsea be in this situation?
Yeah, but most people would have thought, didn't they, that no one was really going to bring the same wealth that Abramovich brought to the football club.
When someone's paid Martin. When someone's paid $2.5 billion.
Did you really feel that it was going to go to another level financially?
Yeah, of course.
I didn't. I don't think it's sensible.
Have you ever seen
it could become a disaster.
Sensible and football are not two words that go together, right? So did anybody see anybody paying £2.5 billion for a football club in any time recently? No, they've now done it. So that was the smallest check you write is often the first one. So it was always going to be they were going to spend not 600 million quid. No, I agree with you on that, absolutely.
Chelsea fan Simon, try and be as pragmatic as he can be. There's Lee. I respected the idea of Potter coming, but it was clearly too soon for him. John, a big Chelsea fan. John, you've been waiting patiently. Is this as bad as you could have imagined it getting?
Yes, it is as bad as I can imagine getting. Good morning, gents. Great show. I called about 3 weeks ago and I spoke to Simon, I spoke to all of you, and I said, this is the worst Chelsea team I've seen in about 30, 35 years, and Simon blew his lips up as if I was talking complete and utter nonsense. But I think it's come to fruition now. Like, this is awful. We are bottom half of the Premier League. It's just so bad. There's player contracts up for dispute, like Mason Mount. He pretty much won us the Champions League in 2021. And now it's up for debate about a contract. The club's just a mess. It's just an absolute mess. And whoever comes in to take this job has got probably the hardest job in football right now.
Well, isn't that because you're not going to like this? First of all, I pursed my lips because I remember the call, because when we talked to you, we talked about a side that had been relegated to the second division of English football in your lifetime. So that's why I pursed my lips.
That was 1985.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's in your lifetime, same as it's in mine.
I was talking about Premier League.
Fine, okay, but at the time, the context of the conversation was the worst Chelsea side you'd ever seen. So it isn't. The second thing is, your club is built on quicksand. It always has been. It's been built on people's money rather than substance and depth of management control and decency of behaviour and investment structures in building a football club that has solidity to it. You've been built on a guy that comes through the door and fires money out of the cannon and then goes, right, you out. So you've been built on quicksand. So the moment he's gone out the door, the quicksand has started to envelop the football club. So you've reaped what you've sown.
We knew that was going to happen. As any realistic Chelsea fan knows that Graham Potter was, number one, he was a gut-shot signing. There was other managers out there, it was a gut-shot signing. Two, Bowley's coming with this scattergun approach of buying players for no apparent reason whatsoever. I mean, Mykhailo Mudryk, £90 million 3 years ago, he was a TikTok star. And now he's a £90 million footballer. Come on.
But does it matter about how much he spends on the football players? Because it ain't your money, it's his. So all we're doing is talking about quantums. Everyone wanted Cucurella in the summer. Man City wanted to pay 50 million quid for him. You paid 60 million quid. So what?
Yeah, true.
The only guy that should be crying about that is Bowley.
John, I mean, Chelsea fans were so much to say this morning, and you quite rightly are one of them. Give me a name.
Now you're asking.
There it is. Well, that's it, isn't it? Isn't it?
People are talking about Nagelsmann. I'm not too convinced. Talk about Enrique. I'm not too convinced. Whoever it is, they need to be strong. They need to be a really strong manager, because you're going to have players knocking the door going, I want to play now, I want to play now, I want to play now.
Yeah, but John, it's not that simple, is it? As you rightly say, mate, you started the sentence, whoever it is. But John, thanks for that. Andrew, whoever it is, who is the whoever?
Oh, you've asked a big question there. It's very difficult. Maybe a few months ago, I'd have said Conte, but I'm not so sure given what's happened in the last couple of months.
I doubt it now.
You need a strong manager. I think also going back to a point that was made earlier about not having a striker. Maybe, just maybe, there's someone in the club that thought, look at Man City last year, didn't have an out-and-out number 9. Maybe we can do something similar, but it's clearly not the case. We need an advisor. We need someone that knows about football as a director of football, and you need a strong manager that can make the team work. Potter, I was up for it in the beginning, but it was always too big for him. He didn't know his best team. The improvement wasn't there. It was just getting worse and worse and worse. So we just need someone that's got experience, whether you go to a club and take a manager, because I'm not sure there's that many that are looking for jobs at the moment, to be honest with you.
One final one, Andrew. Don't know about the Champions League, but you sit this morning in 11th place on 38 points. Brighton are 6 on 43. Do you make top 6?
It's a difficult one. Very difficult. It's probably about as difficult as it's going to be to win the Champions League. All we need to do is get the right manager in. If we don't get top 6, we don't get top 6. If we win it, we win the Champions League. But at the end of the day, we need to start thinking about next season. And if we win the Champions League, great. But it's a very, very big ask.
Andrew, thanks so much for that. As I say, 42 days ago, the message was simple. No, Graham Potter is thoughtful, creative, and the right coach for our rebuild. This morning, gone. Whew. Football.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.